Now I'd like to introduce my colleagues. Deidra Sutton, Business Advisor, Jessica Vasquez, Office Manager, and although she can't be with us today, we have a new director, and her name is Marshette Turner. Today we have the pleasure to meet with Austin Commercial, and this is how the event will go. Austin Commercial will introduce themselves and then make a presentation. Then we'll break into questions and answers. We'll have a hard stop at 12:30 p.m. And now I'll turn things over to our good friend Bill Brown, Senior Project Manager with Austin Commercial. Bill?
Yeah, thank you, Mark, and thank you to Houston Minority Business Development Agency for having us. My name is Bill Brown. I'm a Senior Project Manager with Austin Commercial here in Houston, Texas. We have our team, I call them our major players that we have with us today, the folks that you really need to get to know that are on the call with us today. So we have Stephen Clegg, who is our Director of Pre-Construction, is on the call. Sean Sachtleben, who is also in pre-construction, is a pre-construction manager, is on the call today. Bianca Sandoval, who is our Diversity and Affairs Manager. She represents both, she represents the Texas market and some others, but she's based out of Dallas, but she represents our Houston area. We have Jordan Price, who is a project manager and is actually on the same job that I'm assigned to. That is a champion for diversity. Myself, that's a champion for diversity. And I know we have another, I don't know if he's on the call yet, from our airport project. His name is Troy, and I forgot his last name. What's his last name, Bianca?
Zabronic.
And Troy is going to be on to talk about some opportunities later. So that's what you have on the call today. But I would say what I'm most proud of is that the folks that are on the call today represent what I call a group of champions that are always looking for ways to partner and to give opportunities to folks who may not get the opportunity had they not known the champions. I'll say one more thing that you know, this word champion is, whether it's Austin Commercial or whether it's any other entity that you guys choose to partner with, always try to find the champions in those organizations. We are the ones that will push the envelope. We will help get your name out there, get you in front of our pre-construction team, get you pre-qualified, and ultimately give you an opportunity. So with that, I'll get off the gas and I'll allow Bianca to go through our slides and just give a little bit about the company, and then we'll get into some of our upcoming opportunities. So with that, Bianca.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. Hello. Once again, my name is Bianca Sandoval. I'm Senior Manager of Diversity Affairs for Austin Commercial. Thank you all for joining this morning. We appreciate your time and interest in getting to know more about Austin Commercial and upcoming opportunities. So just a little company overview. Our company, we have been in business since 1918. We are 100% employee owned. We have an average annual volume of 2.5 billion. In Houston, we have 3,000 employees. One key thing that we want to make sure you all are fully aware of, that 85% of our business is with repeat clients. So we want to always make sure that we provide the best customer service all around, not only to our client, but also to our subcontractor base. We have also been recognized by AGC and ABC for our diversity and inclusion program. So this is on a national level. And that's something that we take great pride in getting recognized by organizations such as these for our program and our inclusion of what we do. Next slide. All right. So here's just Austin Commercial has its headquarters in Dallas, Texas, with the regional office here in Houston, Texas. This map gives you an overview of where we have done business, where we are currently working, and locations of other regional offices across the country. Next question, next slide. I said next question. Partnering with a purpose. This is something that our Diversity Affairs Department came, we wanted to make sure that our department had a slogan, something that really resembles what we do. And that is partnering with our communities, partnering with subcontractors, partnering with our employee owners. So again, our company has a fully staffed diversity affairs department that assists in our subcontractors, employees, and just across the project and the communities that we're working in. Again, it's making sure that we focus on the workforce development, the opportunities in our communities, and making sure that we acknowledge and fulfill all the need, not only fulfill the needs, but exceed the goals of those MWDBE programs that are required on those contracts. And even when there is no requirement, that we fulfill MWBE participation on those projects. Next slide. So our team, our leadership, we are thankful and proud that we have our leadership supporting our endeavors of what we do, and from Brad Brown, who's our company president, Simeon Terry, who's the vice president of our Department of Diversity Affairs. Myself, I cover a lot of territory. Texas is a large territory to cover. And our department coordinators and more. We also have construction managers and liaisons across the country and different projects that we're working on. Bill has been crucial, and just been really important to the success in our Houston market, along with Jordan, who's also there on the ground, different projects. So it's not only us, it's the combination of our department working with our pre-construction team, our project managers, and anyone who is involved in the procurement process. Next slide. So again, we talk about our team, and then now it's more of the focus on our local team. And you can skip to the next slide, please. So myself, again, I handle all of Texas, and I'm very proud to be very, involved in the communities, again, that we are working in. Myself, I am chair of the Regional Hispanic Contractors Association. We partner with the NAMAC Houston chapter, and I'm also, I try to go to as many NAMAC Houston chapter events that are taking place. The Greater Houston Business Procurement Forum with Milton. Each one of us, Bill, who is also now the chair of the ABC Houston chapter board of directors for their diversity and inclusion committee. And Jordan, who I want to acknowledge, again, we take great pride, our department takes great pride in being involved in our communities and what we do. And Jordan is one of our recruits from Prairie View. And we are happy to have her on board, and she has continued to just grow and learn. And again, we learn from her, and she's been learning from us. So we take great pride in having her on board. Next slide. All right, so our Mentor Protege program, some of you may or may not be aware of this program that we have in place. So this program was actually initiated it's been in place well over 20 years. And for the last 5+ years, we have been talking about taking this program on the road. Well, COVID hit, and it really pushed us over the edge and really forced us to get creative in taking this program on the road. So last year, it was on a much smaller scale, but last year we took this program on the road and we made it available to across the country. So what this program does is we discovered that in many cases, the subcontractors knew how to do the work. They knew how to lay the bricks. They knew how to pour the concrete, do all of that. But where many of them were starting to fail was more on the administrative side, the operations of it. Not knowing how to fill out a pay application, not knowing when to file a lien, not knowing how to negotiate a contract. So that's where we took this program. We wanted to make sure that we focus on that, and we had training classes that were available to our subcontractors and suppliers that were these classes are targeted specifically for the construction industry. So again, this program is designed to help firms, subcontractors, anyone that we would do business with, or any of our competitors, to help them grow in capacity. And ultimately, the purpose of the program is not to do business with us. The purpose of the program is to help these firms grow. And again, it's maximizing and that pool of certified and qualified contractors in our community. Next slide. So today we have mentored over 400 firms, and we have issued over $3 billion in contracts with these firms that have gone through our program. Again, the goal of this program is not to do business with these firms, but these opportunities have presented themselves where these firms did take that information, applied it to their business, and have been able to grow. So we have now been able to bring these firms along with us as a teaming partner, as a joint venture partner, or a super sub. So it's, building those relationships, getting to know where you feel comfortable, getting to know what you know how to do and become the expert at it. And then learning about those opportunities with companies such as Austin Commercial or any of our competitors, and making sure that you guys are a good fit. I often say this, we may look good, we may sound good, but we may not work well together. It's just kind of like a relationship, a regular relationship. It's making sure that we match, we know what we're going after, and that we're a good combination together. So next slide. Freeze. Oh no. Okay, here we go. So just a success of our program across the board. So again, I talked a little bit about meeting and exceeding our goals. Overall, we have a company policy, a corporate policy that is put in place. Regardless if we have a contractual goal or not, we always look. We have a 10% minimum MWDBE goal across the company. In many of the programs that we're doing work with us on the state level, it's a hub program, or if we're doing airport work, it may be an MW or DBE program. So again, our department works very closely with our project managers, our pre-construction team, and being able to identify those opportunities ahead of the game and making sure that we know what we can do, what's realistic, and also what opportunities we can have. If you're not able to come in and contract directly with us, how you can partner with one of our subcontractors or become one of their suppliers. So to date, our program has been very successful, and here's just a proven track record of what we've been able to accomplish on some of these projects. Next slide. So our industry involvement, and we can just skip on over to the next slide as well. We just like to put pictures in there for you all to get to know us. Our community partners and plan rooms, again, we rely heavily on our community partners to be able to get engaged with the communities and where we're working in. Houston, I can go down the list of all the community partners that we work with. But again, it's getting to know, being involved with the organizations that are going to be a good fit for your business. We have been successful in working and partnering with these firms at different levels, some with training sessions, some with informational sessions, and some with just us providing this information so they can give this information to their members. Again, it's community involvement, communication is key. So thank you to each and every one of our partners that has been able to partner with us, and thank you for all that you do. Next slide. So again, awards and recognitions, we take great pride in what we do. And, the Houston team, we have where we were several years ago to where we are now, we have grown significantly and want to continue to grow. And you as a subcontractor, supplier, can help us continue to grow in this area. And we look forward to, making sure that we get to know you. And, but this is just a little bit of, our hard work that we have put it back into our community and being recognized for what we do and being able to present opportunities and get creative on what we do. And again, with Bill's leadership, with boots on the ground there in the Houston market, and everyone else in our Houston office, regional office, they have been able to really step up our game in the Houston market and get us recognized on this national and local level. Next slide. All right, so again, just we do work across the country, and American DBE was recognized us for just, you know, our inclusion program of what we've done in different partnerships and being creative on bringing subcontractors and suppliers on board with us. So just wanted to, if you're ever wanting to just read an article, you can go to American DBE and read this article for your own pleasure. Next slide. So I will now turn it over to Bill, and who will be talking about current projects and upcoming opportunities.
All right, thanks, Bianca. So right now, our current projects, just to manage expectations, a lot of these are already bought out. A lot of times there's things that come up depending on your scope of services and what you provide. But at Memorial Hermann, we're doing a 96,000 square foot renovation of their facility out in the Woodlands. We did invitation to bid on most of the work already, but in next month, I think there's some phase 2 renovations that's going to have some jobs that are coming out, and I'll let Stephen and Sean talk a little bit more about that later. We're currently, myself and Jordan are currently serving University of Houston on this law building. It's a 5-story law center, 180,000 square feet. We complete it next year by the end of the summer, July 29th. And so, again, a lot of that stuff is bought out, but as opportunities present themselves, we are always looking for ways to partner with folks or send our subcontractors your way. So, and then we are actively, same thing about all these jobs kind of end around the same time next year, but the College of the Mainland project scheduled for, the last phase of it is scheduled for the last part of this year, 80,000 square feet of industrial careers building. I think that's ongoing. And then this last part, the police department is in the works right now. So, I say all that to say, when you look at our current projects, we don't have a lot because that's how we're structured in Houston. We do a lot of large landmark projects. We don't really get into a lot of small projects, so you won't see this laundry list of projects like you may see with other GCs. So we have a very small team here. We're very strategic about the jobs we go after. But they're very usually what we call large projects, but anything in the, you know, kind of $100 million range and up. And so that's kind of why you see just the 3 jobs here. Next slide. And then we'll turn it over to Stephen and Sean. I'm not sure which one's going to talk about our current opportunities, but I'll turn that over to them now.
All right, and I'll go ahead and take over. I'm not sure if Stephen was able to join on or not. And to mirror what Bill was saying, we are very selective in the projects that we do take on. Although we do have other opportunities other than what's listed on here, that kind of explains, you know, why we don't have a whole slew of projects listed here. But some of those opportunities, though, we have some ongoing work at George Bush Intercontinental Airport, as well as a project for Rice University. It's their new visual and dramatic arts building. One small correction here on the slide, it's indicating projected ITB of February of this coming year, which was accurate up until fairly recently, where it's most likely going to be closer to July of 2022. So just keep an eye out for that. As well as MBDA, we will be doing a design build South Campus garage. So excited to get some participation on that as well from the community. Next slide, please. And next slide. Again, we just have some pretty pictures there. For those that may not be pre-qualified with us or have not been pre-qualified within the last calendar year, this is how you would gain access for that process by going to austin-ind.com/partnering. There you'll find links to the PreQual forms as well as some typical inquiries that come along with the process. So please take a look at that. And if you have any questions in addition to that, feel free to reach out. Next slide. Here is just a snapshot of our PreQual form. So when you pull that up, that's what it will look like. You will fill that out to the best of your ability and then email it to the email address that's indicated on that form. Next slide, please.
That was the last slide.
That was it. Okay.
That was it, yes.
Well, we went quick then. And to that, I'm not sure who we need to turn that over to, but I'm sure there's some Q&A.
Yeah, let me sum it up. First of all, again, it's a little bit about who we are and what we do, but I also try to always give what I call inside information. With me being on the operations team and actually the one that's usually signing your subcontract, I leave you with this. Before I work with you, if you've never worked with someone at this magnitude of these type of projects, and this goes for anybody really that you do business with, before I work with you, there has to be a relationship. In other words, we have to meet each other, we have to get to know each other, we have to go through the pre-qualification process, and there has to be a comfort level that the risk that not only Austin Commercial is going to take on, it's the subcontractor, that the risk you're going to take on is going to be rewarding for you. I always say, do not be afraid to ask Austin Commercial to pre-qualify with your company, because your company and the risk you're taking on is just as important as the risk that we're taking on. And we live in the risk business. And so if we're going to marry up and partner up and do work together, then we need to get to know each other. Sean is a valuable resource. To his point, there are numerous jobs that we are pursuing and or we are doing some estimates on, we're working on, actively pursuing jobs that may be 1 or 2 years away that he knows about, that a lot of times he's telling me about. And those are opportunities to build a relationship, to offer services, to estimate things, to really find out what's coming up. It's not things that we publicize until we can. Some clients will not allow us to. But he's always a resource. Steven's a resource. We have several others in our team that are resources for you to stay in contact with, to find out what's going on. So, and then at the end of the day, we have to perform. And so we want to do business with those contractors that are serious about performing on the projects, giving us a safe project, a quality project, and then a win-win situation on the cost, and trying to treat you guys the right way so that that you're making money and you're successful on our project. So with that, I will turn it over to questions, and just again, thanks to the MBDA for allowing us to present ourselves.
Bill, I'm sorry, can I just add on in regards to
Yes.
the pre-qualification? Bill talked about relationships. Again, get to know who these project managers are, get to know who's involved on each individual project. But when it comes to pre-qualification and you filling out information with us, please be aware that just because you have filled out the pre-qualification forms does not guarantee or does not mean that you will start to automatically get invitation to bids. It's up to you to follow up and find out what is going on, what is happening. By the time our job site trailers are out on the field, 9 times out of 10, most of the project may have already been bought out. So again, get to know what's going on ahead of the game, but just I often hear that feedback from subcontractors and say, well, I filled out the information and I just never heard back from you guys. Well, you fill out the information so we can have it handy that if and when we are going to do business with you, we already have your information ready to go and you don't have to fill out all of the information at that given time. So again, make sure that you fill out the information, but follow up with it, build those relationships, get to know who's working where and what's happening in your community.
Thank you. So our first question is the PP PowerPoint available via email so I can share it with my estimators and pre-con team? Yes, the PowerPoint will be sent out later this afternoon. This is a great question. Who is the best contact person to follow up with pre-qualification status?
That'd be Sean or myself, either one, but yeah.
And so when we send out the PowerPoint, may we provide people with Sean and your email addresses?
Absolutely.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, cool. How can we get to know when everything is still so virtual? Where can we see you? That's a good question. I'm going to leave that to.
I'll answer it. I mean, get to know us by number one, doing the pre-qualification, because that's going to tell us what we can do and what we can't do. Based on what they do is the risk management team sets a project limit based on, it's a very confidential process. We don't see the documents unless you see it, send it to us direct. But even when I get those, I don't look at them. I send them to our risk management team, and then they come back with a set of limits. And that tells me what we can and can't do without jumping through a bunch of hoops to work with you. At that point, between myself, Jordan, Sean, the pre-con team, we'll start. Number one, we'll get you on a bid list so that you start to connect with us via email and electronically. You can follow us on all the social media outlets. Usually we're at an event or we're doing something. We publicize that. You can show up to those events. Of course, a phone call goes a long way. Touch points, I call them touch points, but even with our clients, we reach out and we say hello, we send an email, we try to figure out what's going on. So don't let the virtual experience be a barrier for getting to know somebody, because between technology and a phone call, they go a very, very long way. We're in the same position that anybody else is in when we're trying to pursue clients, build relationships, and unfortunately, it's the world we live in, but I think we can get through it.
Yeah, and Bill's right. I mean, we don't mind picking up the phone and taking the occasional phone call just to check in and say, hey, how's everything going? And what opportunities do you have coming up that we might be able to assist with? We're always available for that.
Cool, great. Do you only work with Texas-based minority firms, and do you work with non-construction firms? Two questions, actually.
Yes, depending on the scope of service for a non-construction firm. I mean, I can use some examples. I buy all my office equipment from Tejas Office Supplies. We've got dumpsters from Nation Waste. Just using this job, but yes, there's plenty of non-construction opportunities that are out there. Where we tend not to do unless a client or the job demands it. We don't really staff a job per se. I know a lot of times I get a call from a safety rep and they may say, can I put a safety rep on your job? Well, normally we don't do that, but it just depends on the way the contract is structured and the amount of participation, that sort of thing. So there are opportunities, but they're few and far between. And then a non-Texas based, yes, anybody that pre-qualifies in our system is subject to win a job. There's no discrimination of where you come from or where your office is located. So
We are a small electrical subcontractor recovering from COVID-19. Are there opportunities to pair with larger electrical contractors on your projects?
I always say the opportunity is up to the contractor. But the beauty of it is that we have relationships. Again, it's all about relationships, and we have some major relationships with some big firms in the fact that we can turn you on to them, and ultimately you'll have to present yourself with the credentials and the capabilities that they're looking for to make that partnership. But we don't normally we won't force a relationship.
Yeah, but to that same point though, we could always act as the bridge to help make that connection.
That's right.
Oh, great. Terrific. How can a newly certified business find opportunities with Austin Commercial?
Through the PreQual and the relationship building.
Where can I receive more information on the mentorship program?
Bianca will take that one, but she's got all that information on the mentorship.
Yes, absolutely. So I will include my contact information on there. So anyone who is interested in participating in the program, I will get your information, just I'll provide my contact information and then just shoot me an email and I'll provide that information to you all. Again, this year it will be virtual. We'll be able you'll be able to participate no matter where you are located. But I'll provide my contact info and I will give that information to you all.
Are you currently allowing meetings in your offices? And if so, who would we need to work with in order to set that up?
I'll take that one. Probably up until about a week and a half ago, I would say that we were, but we've kind of tightened up on that just with the current rise in cases. So for the time being, there's a halt on that, but we'll gladly let everybody know when we do open back up for those types of meetings.
Yeah. And if you need to get a hold of me, I'm out at the project site most days, so I'm not opposed to meeting someone in person. Most of the time we'll do it either, via outside on the job site, kind of walk around. And so if you're going to meet me, make sure you got PPE available. But I'm always open to meeting with somebody. But to his point, we've got, to Sean's point, we got our policy that we had to go back to wearing masks when indoors and all that kind of stuff. So we are trying to limit our visitors, but I'm always open to meeting anybody outside. No problem. As long as you can take the heat.
This seems like a business development question. Do you operate in California? We have $759 million for community college projects. So kind of a random
Tell
question.
them to call us. Tell them to call us offline.
And Deidra, I think this may be a good question for you. So if you could unmute yourself. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time. I'm Ashley Ubale from HCU Construction. We specialize in commercial and industrial construction. As far as being certified with the City of Houston, what would y'all's advice be, especially when the people we use are subcontractors? So I kind of guess, yeah. Oh, go ahead, Deidra.
Well, from the presentation, I saw they had exceeded their hub goals. So, the state looks like the hub certification looks like a solid and viable certification to utilize with them, as well as, you have the one with the city. We'd have to look at it and make sure you got your reciprocity with the Port of Houston or with Metro, depending on what certifications you've got. So it will just take a review to see that you've covered all your bases and you have what your company allows, but then you're utilizing these certifications based upon the opportunities. And So I saw just from the presentation, right, Bill, that you guys are really exceeding the hub goals and look like they're hub opportunities.
Yeah, I think to your point, the hub is probably, in my experience, it's pretty widely accepted by just about every entity as a viable certification. And then, of course, to your point, there's various other certifications, but if I had to recommend one to go right out of the gate, is hub. If you look at our projects that we have, MD Anderson is a state project, so they only recognize hub. University of Houston is a state project, so they only recognize hub. So if you get hub, the city of Houston, the Port of Houston, Metro, they all recognize hub. So if you get that one, that'll carry you a long way as you go ahead and get the others.
Could we get a list of POCs, please? Is that point of contacts? Is that what that acronym means?
Yes.
So there'll be some points of contact given in the PowerPoint that is going to be sent to everyone. So I think that pretty much answers that question. What is the status of the MD Anderson South Campus? Drawings, pricing, is this project start April 2022, and when is the completion date?
You can take that one, Steve.
Okay, so this is Steven. So can I hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, so I'll take that one. So I'm assuming you're talking about the MD Anderson South Campus garage number 2. So just to give everyone a brief history, there's a new MD Anderson, which is just south of OST, which is going to house the new and future Scrub 5, MD Anderson Education, UT Health, and also kind of a new green space. So Austin Commercial was awarded what Sean mentioned earlier was this new garage that's supposed to service those that new campus. The garage is currently still in pre-design, so the owner's making final selections on the size and location where they want to put it. The project will actually not start until kind of beginning of Q3 of 2022. The invitation to bid will likely come out that April 2022. So it has a construction date of around 2 years. So kind of gives you an idea of the timeline when that's supposed to start and end.
So we've pretty much exhausted the questions. I have a question, Mr. Brown. What, in your estimation, separates a successful subcontractor or vendor from one who struggles?
Shoot, there's a number of factors. I could talk all day, but I think one is that you're safe. So that when you get on our jobs, there's a level of safety. If you're not used to it, it goes from 1 to 10 when you're on our jobs because of how big they are. The quality of the work has to be top notch. We can't afford to rework things. We can't redo things. So whatever you're getting into, you have to have real experience with the installation. And this is how we manage. So I'm going in that order. We manage by safety, we manage by quality, then we manage by the schedule. So you have to have enough capacity to meet the schedules that we have put in place, and or you've helped us develop that schedule based on your capacity, and we've been able to incorporate that into our master schedule. And so the manpower, equipment, resources, everything that's necessary to get a job done on time. And then we've got to meet your budget, that your price and your bid that you put in on the job. It's our goal to make you successful, and it's what we're going to do. We want to make sure that we remove any barriers that are causing you any heartache, so that you can get your job done, get in and get out, make money, and then ultimately we want to meet our budget. And then we got to keep our client happy. So whoever's paying all of our bills, if you're keeping us happy, that means we're keeping the client happy, and everything works accordingly. So I would say that's the most successful path. And then that relationship piece that, that when you leave a legacy of repeat business where, Bill Brown says, I don't even have to hesitate to call you to give you the next job. So hopefully that answers the question.
And I'll add on to that,
Yeah.
Bill, just with my time as a project manager as well, but open communication, I think, is a key to that as well. A lot of times we find that the subcontractors, vendors that we have the most troubles with, it usually comes down to communication, just making sure that you understand our expectations. We try our best to communicate that. It may not always be clear, but if that's the case, then we expect that you would come to us for clarity on that, just so that we're all on the same page and we're not making assumptions about what those expectations are of each other.
That's an excellent point. I
Yeah.
call that management
Mark, I like
101. No surprises.
Yeah, I like to
No
add on
surprises.
that also. And one thing I always say, I want to tell people when we get, how do you get in with general contract in the door? I think Bill kind of alluded to it, Sean, earlier, but really get to know who the players are that are in that company and schedule a meeting to sit down with them. And don't come to the meeting with, hey, we want work, how do we get work? Come to the meeting with, what do you bring to the table and how can you be a benefit? Because a lot of times we don't know what your business entails and what your strengths and weaknesses are. So when you come to us and say, hey, look, this is what I'm really at, this is what I can bring to the table and how I've worked in the past, that's really the key I've seen where smaller firms are able to get their foot in the door to these larger projects. It's by helping us help you, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Does Austin Commercial have a need for logistics and trucking companies?
Bill, you're on mute.
I said not directly, but we can get you to some of our folks that use trucking. People are always looking for certified minority trucking companies.
Who is the pre-construction person for the Rice University project? Also, when are the drawings, pricing, and completion?
That would be myself, Sean. It's similar to the MD Anderson South Campus garage. This project is also in pre-design, so it'll probably be a good 9 to 12 months or so before those documents are finalized and ready to break ground.
And Ray Gutierrez makes a point. I have learned communication goes both ways. I think people learn that in marriage counseling too.
Absolutely, Ray. Ray knows that, any good GC, if they're not communicating right, it's going to cause problems for a sub. So, yeah, communication absolutely goes both ways.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ray asked again, what is the budget on both projects? I guess I know he was asking about the Rice University and MD Anderson.
Yeah, and I don't think that we're at a place where we can advertise that quite yet, but when we are, we'll absolutely be able to do so.
Okay, well, with that, we've answered all the questions. I want to thank Austin Commercial for their time, expertise, willingness to help our minority-owned firms here in Houston. Bill, would you want to close up with any remarks?
It's always fun. Everybody knows we're here. And if you didn't know, now you know today. Share my number with everybody. I have no problem. I usually say I like to prevent myself from having road rage. So at 4 o'clock when I leave here, I'm willing to talk to anybody about anything on the way home. And so if you need me, my best time to call me is around 4 o'clock or after work. And I will give you the good, the bad, and the ugly of this business. I will not hide anything. when it comes to doing business with minority and women-owned businesses, because it's I always say some people like to bite off a little bit more than they can chew, and when you're dealing with big companies like Austin Commercial, you can get yourself in trouble real quick if you don't know what you're walking into. So I'm here as a resource. I'm here to help the community. We are here to help anybody. You have to win a project. We're merit-based when it comes to opportunities. We don't just hand projects to people simply because you're a minority. You have to win them just like anybody else, but we do take pride in giving you that opportunity. So with that, I'll get off the gas and thank Houston Minority Business Development Agency for having us.
Appreciate it.
Can I add just one more thing? We really didn't talk about. Can I add just, sorry about that. In regards to Houston Airport project, the Mickey Leland terminal, I know I have my project manager who's on the line, but I don't think he was able to join, so you can't see him, but I know he's on the call. But there are several bid packages coming down the pipeline. In the next few months, there will be several bid packages coming out. So I just want to make sure that you are fully aware of what's coming down. I don't know if Troy is able to unmute himself or if he's able to, but either way, we can get you the information. So be on the lookout of those upcoming opportunities for the Houston Airport Mickey Leland terminal, because we want to make sure that you are aware of what those opportunities are. And if you're not able to work directly with us, that again, we put you in contact with one of our subcontractors who you could partner with or come in as a supplier or a sub tier with them.
And we can help advertise that too, Bianca.
Yes,
So,
thank you, Mark. Absolutely.
You're very welcome. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Thanks again, and have a great day.